If you need motivation, yeah, to get through the day, just tune in, cause we'll make a way. Positivity. So if you need environment to make a change, just start with today and tune into Pancake Monday. Pancake Monday with Pastor OGS. OGS. Oh yes. Oh yes. Pancake Monday. Pancake Monday with Pastor OGS. OGS. Oh yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, welcome to another edition of Man Cave Monday. And of course, this is season 2, and I'm so excited for how you all have supported this platform and this initiative for the last almost year now. And I'm so grateful to you all for that. As you're coming in, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube page, and that link is in the chat right now. But I want to introduce our guest for tonight. If you are anywhere within the Tallahassee, Leon County, Gaston County, what I call the metropolitan area, this man is no stranger to us. He is the prestigious, most profound superintendent of the Gaston County school system. His name is Mr. Elijah Key. Sir, welcome to the Man Cave. How are you tonight?
All is well, and thank you, Pastor Simmons, for the invite, but all is well.
Absolutely, and I'm excited about having you. I have had the privilege of watching you from a distance over the years. We've lived in Gaston County now for about 13 years and been in this area for 16 years. And so during the time when my wife was teaching in Gaston County at East Gaston High School, it was at that time, now Gaston County High School, and she knew of you as a teacher and then later on as an administrator. But I'm excited to have you here because education is such a love of mine. So let's talk about your journey. For the benefit of those that don't know you, just tell us a little bit about, your background and, where you came from and how you got to where you are right now.
Just a little bit about myself. Born and raised here in Gaston County, a little community called Shallow here in Quincy. Graduated from James A. Shanks High School, followed my education at Florida State University, bachelor's in social science education, master's in educational leadership at Walden University. Completed some doctoral work at Liberty University, in which I'm thinking about going back to complete if time allows, with all the responsibilities that I now have as superintendent. I'm really thinking hard about that, but those are some of the things that have, just my background in education. Married to Twanda Key is what they call her in Gaston County. She's out of Live Oak, and we've been married 24 years, be 25 in June.
And she teaches as well, right?
Say again?
She teaches as well, right?
Yes, she's also an educator here in the school system at Stewart Street Elementary School.
Okay. And you said yes. 5 kids?
5 kids over 25 years, yes, sir.
Wow.
The oldest is, will be 25 in June. The oldest is 23, and he's currently working, has his AA degree. We have my second oldest son. He's currently a junior at the University of Alabama at Birmingham playing football on a football scholarship. And then we have 3 daughters. One graduated this year, an 8th grader and a 6th grader.
Well, congratulations on that. You and Sister Key are doing a fantastic job as parents and certainly as models for them, which brings me to my first question for you. I am a proponent of males in the school system. I think that is so important. My undergrad was early childhood, and so I'm always talking about that journey and how much value there is in having men in our classrooms, whether it's elementary, middle, high school, or beyond. What made you want to be an educator?
Actually, I went into education because of football, to be honest. It was football that brought me into education. When I graduated from high school and started college, Actually, I was going to be an engineer, electrical engineer is the route that I was going.
Mm-hmm.
But because I actually started playing football and the love of football actually, the love of playing football actually just, I didn't have it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have a desire to help our young men get to the next level. So I started actually coaching here in this area.
Yeah.
And the only way you coach really is to become a teacher. So that's really how I got into the journey of teaching, was through coaching football. I wanted to be, never envisioned being the superintendent, principal, assistant principal, any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I envisioned myself actually being the winningest coach with state titles in Gaston County in football. That's what I thought I was going to do.
Wow. But clearly God had other plans for you.
Absolutely.
But even now as superintendent, and even when you were a principal, all of the kids and the parents in Gadsden County call you Coach Key, even now, because they remember you in that vein, and how you mentored and how you coached so many of the young men in our county. What is the importance of having a male presence, male role models, if you will? Your sons have the benefit of having you in their life, but a lot of our kids don't have those role models. How important is that in your eyes?
Yeah, it's very important. I was, I was raised in the house with two parents, mom and dad, and just having my dad there, really, I would say, made the difference in my life. When I think about relatives, friends that I actually grew up with, and I was just having a conversation with one of my cousins just the other day, that I'm one of the only males. I think there may be one other, but then I'm probably, out of all that crew, 10 or more,
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably the only one that has not been to jail.
Wow.
And that's because, just the respect I had from my dad, and dad didn't place certain things, but
Yeah.
it's very important. And, I look at that, never going to jail, when, I know that there are times that I could have, because everyone make bad decisions, but there was times that I could have gone.
Right.
But through God's grace and mercy, those things didn't happen. But just having those male, he was a positive role model in my life. He's one that I still look up to this day. He's 85 years old, and he's one of those heroes in my life. So he helped guide me. And it's the same thing with our young men in our community today, regardless of how much the males are absent in their homes. They need males. They need them. And I got a nephew. I'm 9 years older than he is. So it's kind of like I'm a big brother, but at the same time, I'm almost like a father figure. And I saw how he struggled because his dad was not there.
Yeah.
So, I tried to do my best, especially when I became an AP of principal, especially when I became a principal. My motto as a principal was that these are my kids. All of you all belong to me. It doesn't matter what your color is. I'm your daddy when you're on this campus here.
Yeah.
And so that's just the way that I tried to be that positive role model for the kids. And same thing with expectation. This is what I expect of you.
Yeah.
Expect you to do your best. Make all A's. I didn't talk about C's and D's and F's. I expect you to make all A's. And if you had B's on your report card, you did all right, but let's get those B's off.
So the
And
standard is set.
Yes, absolutely. And that challenged kids. And so they were very happy to come show me their report cards when, matter of fact, they didn't have to show it to me. As a principal, I actually signed every report card. So I already knew what every kid had, and, talked to them about what they need to do, and just having those conversations with kids when they got the report card. All right, Mr. Key, I'm going to get this grade up and things of that nature. So they need it. They need positive males in their lives, and everybody, everybody can't be a principal, but
Right.
everybody can be a positive male role model in our young men and young ladies. It ain't just the men that need it, young
Right.
boys that need it. Our young girls also need positive role models, and that everybody's not out to get or take advantage of them. So they need that also.
Agreed. And I think that's very profound, the way you frame just your whole philosophy of how to love on kids, how to earn their trust, and, whether it be the boys or the girls, your presence makes a difference. Shouts out to, the moms and the grandmoms and big sisters and aunties and what have you. But, that male presence does make a difference. And we like to affirm manhood not to the detriment of womanhood, but certainly affirming our place and our responsibility, in the community as well. Do you find it? Did you find it easier, or because I'm kind of skipping ahead on my questions, but we don't necessarily have to go in chronological order. Did you find it easier or more difficult when you decided to run for superintendent of schools? You're homegrown, so that can be a good thing or bad thing depending on how you approach it. Did you find it difficult, or did you find it easier to garner support because you're homegrown?
There were times, to be honest, third time is a charm. I mean, it was my third time running. So, there were times I felt like the scripture that Jesus talked about, where he said the prophet is without honor in his own hometown. That's the way I felt at times.
I know the feeling.
You get dejected and you just want to throw up your hands and say, it is what it is. If this is what y'all want, you have it. But there were times that, I think even after the last election, I said, you know what, Gaston County, you all can have this. I'll move forward with my life and do what I can to take care of my family. And that's where I was at a moment for about a week until I realized that, you know what, you got a calling. I didn't jump in this in 2012 by happenstance, but it was a calling. So I think with that, the persistency of staying in the race, people understanding that there was no quit about me, and just having the background that I've had as a principal, as an AP, moving failing schools. I think that is what really sold the people, and just the, just openness that I had, and which I'm trying to find now as superintendent, is how to be open, because now it seems as if the communication, in a way, I'm not on Facebook as much, and people like, he just done dropped off the map. It's not that, it's just trying to balance my time with everything else, because things really has changed. So that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out, is how to get back out to communicating with the stakeholders, because it's important. Because that's what got me there. It's communication, Facebook, social media. That's what got me where I'm at today, along with knocking on doors. But it's until I can figure out how to balance my time and get those things back, it's kind of like on the back burner right now. But it was easier that people knew me, especially in DeQuincy. They really knew me. They knew my character. So regardless of what people may have said about me, he didn't have to defend himself. There were people that would just point blank defend me. If they said anything negative on Facebook, I didn't have to say anything. I had to call them off.
You had some soldiers out there. You really had some people who was about that life here in Gaston County, defending your reputation, the work you've done, because you've sown seeds, in over these years. You have invested in so many young people, and now those young people are parents themselves, and they see the benefits of what you did for them. So the voting block, if you will, the demographic that voted for you, you served them and served them well. So it was a no-brainer for us when we pulled that lever, when we filled in that name. We knew the reputation.
Yes, sir.
So with that said, then we know that Gaston County, Florida, would be considered a rural area. I always like to call it a suburb of Tallahassee, rather than just a rural area. Some would even say a country area. But you have cast a vision that places Gaston County in a position to compete at the highest levels, because you believe our kids can. What is so special about your county? Because we're always compared to Tallahassee, compared to Leon County as being less than, and the redheaded stepchild, for Tallahassee. But you have raised the bar of expectations. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, number one, born and raised here. And I know I know personally a lot of people who have been successful. The difference is they have not returned back to Gaston County because of the availabilities of jobs and things of that nature. So there's very bright people that are come through Gaston County that we often hear of once they get to the level that they are, get the accolades that they have, and then they send back, articles and things of that nature that may get published in the newspaper or they may share on Facebook. But we have very capable people that come through Gaston County.
Mm-hmm.
And even myself, when I think about myself, just my travel to where I'm currently at, many people thought that I came through a family that had it all, or just had some things, had things together, let's say it like that. We're probably well off or something like that. And that was far from the truth. That was far from the truth. Parents, I think about my mom, she dropped out in middle school, and that was to help raise other siblings. My dad dropped out in the 11th grade. He went into the military, so education was not important in my house. But regardless of that, I was one of those individuals that was very smart. However, just did not, I was very smart, but had the backing of educators.
Okay.
It wasn't the parents. Sometimes we want to throw parents in there, but it was the educators that made the difference in my life when I was in school. I could have brought a C, D, F home, and my parents would not have said a word. Matter of fact, I did bring those grades home. And I never remember my mom or dad saying anything about an F that was on my report card, which is totally different with me. So, it's all about the expectations, really, I say educators, because oftentimes we want to put it back on the parents. And yes, parents play a role, communities play a role, but it was the educators for me. Somebody, like I said, somebody coming from a home where there was no focus of education. I could have brought an F home and nothing would have been said, no punishment, no, I'm calling it time out, but that's not what it is. But,
right.
I
We know.
never was, I never was punished for bringing those grades home.
Right.
So, but it was the educators that, like I said, made the difference. And even, I cannot remember my 10th grade English teacher, or English 2, that had the audacity to call my mom out to a parent conference. And it was because I was not doing my very best in class. And what she looked at was saying he's very capable because I'm looking at his test scores and he's consistently scoring in the 80 and 90 percentile, but he's not doing anything in the classroom.
Right.
And really, that is probably really the turning point from a kid that was just about a straight A student, high, just about all A's and B's, very little B's, mainly A's and B's in elementary school, honor student just about in middle school, and then to a 2.0 kid in high school. Wow. And below. Struggling. But it was that teacher that called my parent that really turned things around.
Wow.
To say, you can do better than that.
That is very therapeutic for me personally, and then a lot of us who are watching right now, because your journey sounds very similar to mine. I always tested well on standardized tests. I could do it with nothing. Even when I took my teacher certification test, praxis 1 and 2, passed them on the first try. But academically, with the grades, in class, by the time I hit 7th grade, man, the bottom fell out. And a lot of it had to do with my focus and my attitude. And your parents were the opposite of mine. My daddy didn't play that. My mother, stayed on her knees praying, and they stayed fussing and whooping and time out for me. But by the grace of God, I graduated high school and something clicked. All the people that prayed for me, the community, the church folks, my teachers, and I ended up going to Morris Brown College. The only school I applied for, the only school that would accept me. And I went and had the nerve to declare early childhood education as a major, but having that testimony of struggle that folk can reference and say, okay, he hasn't always had it all together. He ain't always been suited and booted. He ain't always been, even if he was as articulate as he is now, he did struggle. And that is what I admire about you, because the story is real. And I think it gives you a sense of compassion for the kids who may struggle academically or have some issues at home, whatever the case may be in that regard. So I thank you for your transparency there.
Yes.
What is the racial makeup of Gaston County schools?
It's a little bit different, but different now than it has been in the past. We do have a growing Hispanic population. So for me to actually throw out the actual numbers, I would be wrong. But we are majority Black, minority, and definitely minority, but majority Black in the school system and Hispanic. And then we have a very small population of Caucasians or whites.
Well,
But
that's what I was getting at. It's a majority minority school system. I've always had an issue systemically with how African Americans in particular are educated, because I don't think it takes into account our way of learning, our giftedness, our culture in a lot of ways. And I'll be more specific, right? When you were in your teacher education program, I'm sure similar to mine, we were taught Freud and Piaget and Montessori. Well, these were white men who crafted these theories upon which many school curriculums, county curriculums, state tests are based on these theories that are, decades old, if not hundreds of years old in certain cases. And I always thought that that was unfair and unjust to the African American child. And we can even throw in the Hispanic child, the person of color. Montessori and Freud and Piaget and all of them, they did not do their experiments. They did not do their tests on Black brains. They tested white males. And so I always thought the system was flawed in that regard. What can you say about any of that?
I think about myself today. If I was a student today, I probably would be an ADHD kid or ADD kid. Just thinking about how I am. Think about I was in a training all day today with other superintendents, and it was difficult. If they had called it in person, I probably would have been fine. But doing things, I was thinking about the kids who were doing remote learning, and I had to sit there from 9 to 4. So I'm sitting there just like students are today, and it was a struggle. It was a real struggle, and so I know one of the things I'm gonna have to go back and just look at notes. So it is difficult because many of our kids are just like that, where it's difficult for them to sit down. They're hands-on. I'm one of those that I can listen and learn at the same time, but much of the way that I do learn things is a hands-on approach. And so I'm not one of those that absolutely just, I can get sitting down and sitting and getting, as we would say,
right.
But it's a hands-on approach. And that's what we had to do with our kids, is get them active and just expecting them to just sit in a seat and just be still. Because like I said, I'm one of those that, if I was here in 2021 as a kid, they probably begging my mom to put me on some medicine to keep me still. So
yeah.
And I don't have I don't have any issues like that, but it's a way of not addressing the entire kids or every culture, like you're saying. So we have to know that our kids, learn different. COVID right now is changing that, where you have to sit still. You have to do things in your own area now.
Yeah.
But, once we get past this, whatever God allows to get past this, is that we got to realize that our kids do learn differently, and we have to explore those ways and get out of our comfort zone. One of the things that I've said time and time again, I get from another pastor, and he was doing a training, and he said, we got to stop talking about thinking outside the box, and we got to simply tear the box down, because for too long we've just been thinking outside the box, but we're still inside the box.
Yeah.
So just tear the box down and let's do something totally different. And that's what we have to do, even in Gaston County. We just been thinking outside the box, thinking about what we can do differently. Let's just tear it down and let's just do things that will help our kids succeed.
Well, I'm going to start with you, and then I'm going to circle back to the teachers. How much of that curriculum, instruction, and how the day is set up, how much of that do you control? Because we know resources are allocated, by the state and different other, sources. And a lot of that is not necessarily under your control. But as superintendent, how much of that whole groove of the school day and how because we're going to circle back to the teachers, but how much of that do you control as superintendent, or can you control as superintendent?
Well, you try not to control it as superintendent, because if it does not work, then you have people saying, "This is what you told us to do." So you try to leave school leadership or school decisions to school leaders.
Okay.
Because they've gone through this, similar training, and I was one of those principals that I did things the way that I thought was best with the buy-in from my staff. So you try to leave those type of decisions up to the school, and you try to inform teachers on the best practices for our kids, what works and what do not work for our kids. So you try to make sure they do those things. So really, I wouldn't try to control day-to-day operations, really, of curriculum and things of that nature, or how they're actually dictating their day. I may question it. How's this going for you based on data? Your kid's not performing. All right, how's the structure of your day? So I think I would approach those things by those type of questions, because, when I think about when I was in the classroom, I was a history teacher, government teacher. I tried not to, sit there and talk to the kids for no longer than 20 minutes, because I know me, unless you're, I think about even as preachers, unless you're really preaching and you really got my attention, I done probably tuned you out by now.
This is good information for me to have, because I tend to go about 40 or 45, but what you telling me is my members tuned out 20 minutes ago.
That's unless you have those individuals who are engaged, and then when you think about church, until the other part you start getting excited, then it seems as if they get re-engaged. But in reality, about 20 minutes they've tuned us out. So normally about 20 minutes I'm through talking, the one that's doing all the talking, and start engaging kids. And then even I start changing that, where it was really students, we're having a conversation, and instead of just me talking. And then the other parts of my class, it really went to where we're doing different activities. Because I know if I'd have kept talking, the entire class is asleep. I've lost the kids, and when it comes to testing, they haven't retained any of the information. So I had to just change the way I did things. And we oftentimes, the students ain't learning, they ain't studying, they're not doing, only using some bad language here, y'all.
You good on here.
Not doing this. The students are not studying, all of those things. And we never look at what we're doing to change the situation. And that's what I had to do as educator. All right, Elijah, what can you change?
That's great. And you good here. You can tear up the English language if you want to. This is the Man Cave. This is Man Cave Monday, y'all. I'm talking to Superintendent Elijah Key, Gaston County Schools, right here in the state of Florida. And he's doing a fantastic work, just elected, and is hit the ground running on behalf of our kids. Again, prepare to engage and subscribe to the YouTube channel that's pinned right here in the chat, because we want you to be able to pick this interview up even later. So we're circling back to the teachers. How difficult, because you've been in the classroom, you've been in administration, and now you are leading the county. How difficult is it to recruit, I'm going to call them the best and the brightest, to what some would consider, like I said, a rural county situation that does not pay as much as, larger cities? How has, and I know you just got in, but theoretically, how critical is it recruiting to Gaston County?
Right now, actually, before I got on, was just looking at the number of applicants for certain positions, and right now, people are not applying. However, I am optimistic about people who are willing to come back to Gaston County. We have quite a few educators that still live in Gaston County, however, they work in Leon County. And I'm optimistic that those individuals are looking to return to Gaston County and educate here, because it's quite a few very effective teachers that are working in Leon County. And that's really is the only thing that's really going to turn the school system around. I can have all the great ideas, the greatest vision, but without people to carry out those things, we can't move forward. But I'm very optimistic, I would say, that we will get some of those teachers back in Gaston County. It's
Yeah.
very difficult. So one of the things that I'm doing, and they would tell you, is I'm scrutinizing every penny, everything that comes across my desk that's spending money. It's how's it improving, helping our students out, or how's it helping teachers out? Because
Yeah.
now I need to start looking at those resources to get them where they at, so I can compete with a Leon County, where somebody could say, you know what, I'm making the same amount of money that, Leon County, Gaston County is making the same amount of money. I don't need to go to Leon County. But the other part of that is just not about money. It's about how we treat people. And that is one of the other major factors that have had people to flee Gaston County. And they would tell you, yes, money is a factor, but it's also how I've been treated. And they have left because of that. So all of those things we have to change. But at the same time, I'm trying to get in a position that we can compete financially
Yeah.
in any county in the future.
Well, you're speaking a truth that I was prepared to speak on your behalf and put a disclaimer out there. The opinions expressed in this portion are not that of Elijah Key or Gaston County Schools, but a lot of the critique that I saw and heard during the race, and even when you ran the last time, was that there was so much nepotism, mismanagement, quite frankly, the same old people doing the same old things. And so people got excited about your candidacy because you represented a fresh wind, fresh ideas and energy. It's almost like, the black church when somebody been in position too long and they really need to go, because we can't grow, we can't progress if we don't allow new energy. And so I don't expect you to co-sign it or agree with what I'm saying right now. You can stay safe, but I this is my platform, so I can say what I want to say. People are happy that you are in place because there are some brilliant minds out there who are looking for a challenge, quite frankly, and something special that can be done in a school system like Gaston County, and they want to bring that energy. But when they run into that brick wall of, we ain't never done that before, or you can't be bringing that stuff, here. We like it how it is. That sounds like some old country church stuff, and that's why situations never grow. But people are excited about what you bring.
Absolutely, and that we have to change the game, and that's one of the things that I've ran on. No promises, and to this day, there's nobody that has received a promise from me about a job, and that's the way it should be. We're here to do a job to serve the people of Gaston County, to make sure that our kids are educated the very best that we can, and it should not be about campaign promises. So I've stayed away from that, plan to do that, but at the same time, there are some, actually, I didn't get into that earlier, but there are some people that are not just connected to Gaston County that has been in contact with me that have called me or sent me an email that says, I now want to be a part of Gaston County. There's a principal from another county, it's not necessarily Leon County, but from another county, that said that I'm looking, and sent that resume and said, I want to be a part of what's going on in Gaston County. And I looked at the resume and I said, yes, right. Yeah, right. I'm going to use that term now. You're right. We can't afford you.
Right.
And that person actually wanted to have a meeting with me. And we set up the meeting, and they came, took off from their job where they were, came down and had a meeting with that individual. And jokingly, I said to the person, I looked at your resume, I checked the website, so you're telling the truth. And I said, I simply can't afford you. Where are you coming from? They're paying more money. I can't afford you. And that individual happened to say to me, everything is not about the money. I want to be a part of change. So there are some people that are looking to come to Gadsden County to help bring about the change that is necessary to help us move forward.
I believe that. And that's a testimony to you, honestly, because when you are that effective and influential as a leader, people will follow you anywhere. You can sell water to a fish if you are an effective enough leader, and when people believe in you. At that point, it doesn't matter where you're going or what you're trying to do. They believe in you, and there is something special happening. And I am on the fringes. I live in this county and I serve all over this metro area, but on the fringes, I can see from a distance that there is an energy in this county that has been missing for some time, if it ever was there. And you are at the helm of that, sir. And I just thought I would affirm you in this moment with that. I'd be remiss if I did not mention the pandemic that we are still in. We're working up on a year now into this pandemic, and so you are still a few months into your new administration. How is Gaston County navigating this pandemic?
It's been, it has caused a lot of confusion, let me say it like that, with the current orders of the governor to bring back kids that are struggling, kids that parents that wants to return. And you have that fear. There's still that fear of COVID, and it is real. I have been impacted by COVID. I don't know how I got, how I was impacted by it, but somewhere out shopping or something, I was impacted by it. And that was over the Christmas break. So lost my sense of smell, had other minor issues, but nothing major. So COVID is real, regardless of, some people out there saying it's a hoax, and all of those things. It is real. But at the same time, there's a fear out there among our people that they're going to contract it and get sick and die, or they're going to take it to their relatives. So you got those individuals that anytime anybody comes up positive, they want everybody that has been around them to be quarantined, and which that creates the issues that we're having. Other than that, remote learning is not necessarily working for our kids. We have not in Gadsden County, we have not been educating our kids through technology. Technology in Gadsden County came to be a one-to-one device this year, 2020-21 school year. So it's not like our kids been working with computers over the last 5 years. If that was the case, it would be a little bit easier for our kids to navigate, and even our educators, because our educators have not been using it either. So now our kids are struggling. They need to be back in school, but there are individuals that are really fearful about kids coming back. You have parents who are fearful of their kids coming. But in reality, I'm finding that outside of Thanksgiving and Christmas, many of our COVID cases actually dealt with kids who were remote. It was remote kids and our adults that came to work. But it really was not the kids who actually came to our brick and mortar every day. So Thanksgiving, we had a little uptick in numbers. And then really after Christmas, we had a big spike of cases with our students. And we're still feeling those effects even today. So, we have been impacted, but at the same time, I'm trying to figure out a way, the safest way, praying at the same time that God in this pandemic, that we can get our kids back into the school setting, that we can educate them the very best that we can.
Yeah, and it is serious. Hundreds of thousands of people have died, and millions have contracted it, and are still, some still trying to recover from it even now. I received a text a couple of days ago, and it was advertising. I got it from Eric Henson, one of our local officials, talking about the vaccination site over there at New Jerusalem Baptist Church, and shouts out to Pastor Julius Harris as well. But they did it on Saturday the 30th there. So people need to be informed even about vaccination and doing what we can to make sure that our people are safe. I hear and I feel the plight of what you carry every day as a leader, because you are responsible for lives. And it's so easy for folk to just say, well, open back up. We need our kids in school, but it is literally a health risk. And you are a steward of all these lives. So you have our prayers and our support in that effort.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
So shifting towards still in education, but a little more towards the future. We've changed administrations now. We have a new president, thank God. And with that comes cabinet appointments and education secretary and those kind of things. We mentioned some of the choices of our current governor, and I can say this, that, I'm praying that that changes in the next few years, that we get a new, more focused, more people-centered governor. But anyway, what is your hope, for the future? If you were to project the next 3 years in Gaston County schools in particular, what is your vision? What do you see?
Well, I still believe, as my vision for the county is really becoming the model district. As a minority district, we can become the model district throughout this entire United States of America in educating our kids. There's no reason why we have to be at the bottom of everything that we're doing.
Right.
With new standards that are coming out, we have the opportunity to start over. This pandemic has helped in a way because we may have testing, but I don't think we'll have grading. I think that would be a big mistake by the current administration if they decide to grade, because I would tell the community to look for just about for all Fs, or you look for droppage in grades,
Right.
because that is what's going to happen, especially in Gadsden County. Because now it's no longer the learning gains; you're just going strictly on proficiency numbers. So we have an opportunity with the right people in place to become the model district that everybody can start looking to and say, what are you all doing to start increasing your numbers of kids who are proficient and doing well on these same standardized tests that other kids are taking? And just like we talked about earlier, I mean, there was nobody educated in my household. I had sisters that graduated from high school, but nobody that graduated from college. But here I go, still on these same standardized tests coming from that house, still testing in the 90 percentile with everybody else across the nation. So it's not that we cannot do it. Some of us has lost the focus, and we have to make sure that if there's individuals here in this county that is serving our kids that have a thought process that our kids can't learn, then we need to find them another place. This is not the place for them. So first of all, we got to make sure that we have people that definitely believe that all of our kids can learn. All kids can learn regardless of their background, regardless of where they come, and do our very best to educate them that we can become that district that everybody's looking to. So in the next 3-4 years, hopefully, that is what we're looking forward to, is that people are now looking at Gaston County in a different light, that we're no longer at the bottom. We're no longer, what everybody's looking at and saying, oh, the state needs to take over because there's nothing going on there. And that the joy, there's a pride about our schools, I think that we've lost also.
Yeah.
And all of those things are coming back, that there's pride. People are happy to get their kids educated here. And there's no second, you're not second guessing yourself.
Right.
As in, this is the choice of my child.
Right.
And what's going to help is along those lines is that, I'm a parent also. I feel sorry for I ain't gonna say that, but I'm a parent also. So, that helps in making sure that we're getting the very best across the board to educate our kids everywhere.
Well, I can tell you 2 kids in particular that came out of Gaston County High School, and because of the pandemic, these months and years are running into each other now in my head. But I want to say that the Hutley twins, Aaliyah and Aliza, were class of 20, I guess. So it might have been 19. Like I said, we've been in pandemic. Yeah, class of 20. And they are brilliant. Like, these girls want to be rocket scientists, when they grow up. And I, haven't seen them but once since pandemic started, because we're in the virtual church space. But those 2 girls are brilliant, and they come straight out of Gaston County schools, and 5.0 GPAs. Like, they're nothing to play with. Those girls are serious, and they are a product of our county.
And they actually graduated in 2020, but they're actually originally a part of the class of 2021. So they graduated as juniors with those GPAs, as well as with their AA degree. They didn't want to talk about those things.
Right.
But you're right. They're very bright kids, and we have a lot of other kids who are just like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they have some very solid support at home that don't allow them to do
Oh
certain
yeah,
things. That,
Miss
can't
Miss
break their
Sister
grades.
West don't play about them girls, and their daddy don't play about them either.
Absolutely. So they have that foundation, but like you said, they're still bright, very bright young ladies that have come from this county, not from traditional homes. So you're talking about a grandparent and
Right.
a dad that has helped raise them. So
Yeah.
those examples that anybody can make it regardless of where you come from. And, those are testament, like
Yeah.
you said.
They are
They
brilliant.
graduated. They're supposed to be 2021 graduates. They're supposed to be graduates. They're supposed to be graduating this year. They graduated last year
Yeah.
with their AA degree and top of the class 1 and 2.
Shouts out to my church members right there.
Absolutely.
Those
Those
girls,
are my girls.
yes, they are brilliant, and we are so very proud of them. What are our seniors going to do? The class of 2021 that is prayerfully headed to college or somewhere in August. What, having gone through a whole school year in a pandemic, what are they honestly expected to do, and will they be able to perform and keep up as freshmen in college?
We had that conversation today. When one of the directors just had a conversation earlier about the class of 2021 and how we can help them just get over that hump. I mean, you talk about being out of school since March, and then we're talking about also kids who missed the opportunity to test. So this year, the testing requirement has not been thrown out like it was last year. So right now, those kids are expected to pass all of the testing requirements for Algebra 1, the ELA standards, or they don't graduate. That was thrown out last year, but however, it's being held to the prior this year. So you have kids already that were struggling in this county, and we oftentimes have kids who are graduating who are not college ready, who is not career ready. Mm-hmm. So those things are going to take a little time. I will say that, just being honest, it's going to take some time to correct that, because it's going to take some time to correct that.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And you have our prayers, and that leads to my next to last question. Y'all, this is Man Cave Monday. I'm talking to Superintendent Elijah Key, Gaston County Schools right here in the state of Florida. Y'all make sure y'all comment and like and share and all that. What is it that we can do, the stakeholders, beyond our prayers, beyond our well wishes? What can we do to make sure that you succeed and that our kids succeed in Gaston County?
Everybody's going to have to play a role. That's one of the things that I promised that I would do on the campaign trail, and that's bringing everybody to the table, regardless of race, regardless of whatever their background may be, bring them to the table. So everybody's got to be willing to roll up their sleeves and to assist in some kind of way. You talk about men. We need men in our system to be mentors for our young men. We just need that. So, and the same thing with young ladies. Our young ladies are missing positive role models in their lives. So we just got to have just different things that can come to the school settings to help principals make their job a little bit easier.
Yes.
One of the things that principal I was talking to that is thinking about coming here, that says it's not about the money. She want to come and make a difference in Gaston County. Talked about all the community partners that she had. I didn't mean to put out if it was a male or female, but I just did. But talked about all the partners that they had to help them in their school. And some things that you want to do in your school, it takes resources. It takes the help of the community in order to make that happen. I used to do Jump for Georges, and that was simply George Washington dollar bills, and we just called it Jump for Georges. And kids, regardless, for reading, for just change of behavior, whatever it may be, we put those kids in a box, names in a box, and pulled their names, spread out, not spread them out, but put dollar bills next to each other and allow the kids to jump the dollars. And how many dollars they jumped? Guess what? They put those dollars in their pockets. It was theirs.
Okay.
So, but I was able to do those things through community support. People saw what I was doing and say, "Hey, I want to donate. I want to give."
Yeah.
So our school, we got it. That's why I said we got to get out. We got to tear down that box and think outside of that. And how can we help motivate our kids to do? You know, like my kids, you go to school and you do your job, but some kids need a little extra motivation. So
Right.
how do we get that out of kids?
Right.
You know, one of the things I did as a principal also, I had a game room. I had a game room, Xbox 360 at the time, PlayStation, all of those things. We had a game room. So if you earned a ticket to come play the game on free time, guess what? You can come do that. And that helped change behavior. It helped change a whole lot of things. But guess what? I was able to buy all of those things that I'm talking about through community support. So, you know, there are things that the community can do that's not necessarily just money, but just a presence on campus, to be those role models, to do things of that nature. And so we're definitely going to have conversations with principals. And there are some things that I'm going to start organizing from a district level to start pulling in community stakeholders to start helping us out here in the community. In the school district.
Well, let me say from my platform, as pastor of Jacob Chapel, we have a global vision. I believe in Matthew 25. I take it literally, feed the hungry, clothe the naked. I believe in Matthew 28, go into all the world. And I also believe in Acts 1:8 that says, and you shall be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, uttermost parts of the world. Jerusalem for us is Tallahassee, because that's where our church is locally, South Side. However, our Judea and our Samaria is Gaston County. And so I don't have that mindset of, well, we're in Tallahassee, so that's the only place we serve. I am telling you from my platform that we, and myself personally, are going to commit our energy and even some of our resources to help you in Gaston County. So I want to be pulled in. I'm saying it publicly so the whole world can hold me accountable. I want us to adopt Gaston County schools as well as part of our global initiative to spread out beyond just the area that we serve. So whether that's me personally, whatever you need, or whatever our church can do in the way of resources, and even sending volunteers. I got members that live in Midway. That whole community there in Midway, that's Jacob Chapel West location, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm giving you a public commitment that we are going to make sure that you succeed and that our kids succeed.
Greatly appreciate that, Pastor.
Absolutely. So last question. Super Bowl is this coming Sunday, first Sunday in February. Who you got? You're a football man. Chiefs, I'm about to say Patriots. Lord have mercy. Chiefs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who you got?
Well, I normally go with any Florida team. I'm a Florida State Seminole.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't like how Tampa Bay did my former Seminole.
That is right.
But I understand at the same time that, they got someone in that can help them get to where they was trying to get in. That is the playoffs and Super Bowl. But, I do kind of hold it against them. But in a way, I think I'll be in trouble. I got a sister-in-law and brother-in-law stay in Tampa. I'm going to have to go with Tampa just because of them.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, I don't expect you to put no money on that. Because
No.
Mahomes
But
is
actually,
that guy.
I really had to say I probably would be, just looking at the couple of games I've looked at, probably would say Kansas City.
Yeah.
But I couldn't say that publicly because of my people here in town.
Yeah. Well, my household doesn't really have a dog in the race. My wife from Louisiana, you know that. So she's a Saints fan and wanted Drew Brees to get there, but Brady put him out. And then her dad is a Kansas City fan, and she got family in Kansas City, so she'll probably end up rooting for them. Nobody in this house, is necessarily rooting for Tom Brady or Tampa. So it is what it is, but I ain't gonna put money on it either way, because I think Tom Brady, he made some kind of deal with the devil. I don't know what it is about this guy, but he just keeps winning.
He's good. I don't know what he does, but he keeps winning, like you said. He's good. That's what he does.
Yeah, keeps winning. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this has been another edition of Man Cave Monday. He is Elijah Key. Superintendent, Gaston County Schools. Sir, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It was an honor. I know you're busy. It's been a long day already, so I really appreciate you. Anything you want to say in closing?
Just greatly appreciate you, Pastor, for the invite, and best of luck and prayers to you all and blessings to you all. And one of the things I've found out, you don't have to run down blessings. The scripture says that blessings will come and overtake you. So we'll just keep on moving forward and allow the blessings to come your way.
I love that. I love that. Amen. Thank you so much, sir. And we will look to see you guys very soon. Don't forget to like and to share and to support this Man Cave initiative. We're trying to bring power to the culture. God bless y'all. We'll see you soon.